So we are going to talk to you today about our spring semester 2019 in Seville, Spain. And we're going to start with who we are as AIFS. We're a study abroad organization that has over 54 years of experience sending students abroad. So we've been working with U.S. students and sending them to countries since 1964. I myself was an AIFS student, and when I studied abroad in Spain, in a city very close to Seville, in Granada, in 1988, so actually 30 years ago, not nearly 30 years ago, it is 30 years ago. And I actually ended up going back to Spain after I finished my undergraduate and began working for the company, running our office and our Granada program at the University of Granada. So I have a lot of experience working directly with students when they're abroad, and I've been back in Southern California for the past 4 years, helping John and Citrus promote their programs. I think that Citrus and AIFS have been partnering for nearly 30 years as well, since 1989. So next fall, 2019, will be our anniversary together running programs. Before I get to that, I want to just go back and point out that AIFS, just go back one. Yeah, thank you. AIFS has two of our fortes are the fact that we have local program coordinators. So your on-site staff there that work for AIFS have set up your program, they run your program, and they're there for you in case of any eventuality. We have extensive incident response and crisis management protocol and procedures that our staff are all trained in. So if anything happens, you have someone that will help you safely through the incident. And it could be anything as seemingly minor as my debit card won't work, what do I do? And that's important to you, right? Absolutely. Or I have a fever, I need to see a doctor. We have people who can help you take care of those issues through something more important, more maybe newsworthy. You know, we have all watched the news and we know that sometimes incidents happen, so we do have a protocol to help our students safely through all of that, and our faculty as well. The PowerPoint will be online, and we have all of these great videos for you. Unfortunately, we don't have a student video because Citrus and the consortium hasn't done a program to Seville yet, so we don't have many of that, but hopefully you'll be shooting video for us.
Yes, please do that.
Show our students next time. So why study abroad, right? I mean, you all are very comfortable in your lives in Southern California. Why mess it up, right? You got your car, you got your Starbucks, you got Chick-fil-A right down the street. Why bother? Let's think about study abroad as not only this transformational experience, right, to help you grow on a personal and skill level. Let's think about it as an investment in your education, an investment in your future. Less than 10% of U.S. college students study abroad. Of the 40 million college students that we have in this country, less than 400,000 go abroad every year. Most of them go abroad on short-term programs of 2 to 4 week duration. Having a semester-long program on your transcript and on your resume makes you highly desirable candidate, makes you highly desirable for transfer, makes you highly desirable for employment later on. So it is something that will make you more competitive, right? It shows admissions officers and employers that you have all of these wonderful skills like cultural awareness and international perspective, and in a global market, I can't think of a job there that is not affected and where it makes you a more desirable candidate. And all of those personal skills as well that your students talk about. As far as statistics, you have all of these great statistics that just prove that study abroad is a positive experience. Like 100% of students who go abroad improve their GPA when they get back. 97% of study abroad students find employment within 12 months versus only 47% of college graduates that don't have study abroad on their transcript. And you get about a 25% average higher salaries, right? That international experience makes you more qualified for better paying jobs. And then about 90% of study abroad alumni get into their second choice of grad school. And we think that having that on your community college transcript also makes you more competitive for transfer. All right, this is the consortium. we're a consortium of 13 and almost 14 colleges. We have a college that wants to join soon. Citrus College is the lead college, so all students become a student of Citrus College for the spring semester. All of your financial aid and all of your registration is done through Citrus College. And then why Seville? I don't know if Professor Afsali wants to talk a little bit about why Seville. I mean, it's the quintessential storybook Spain. Yeah, we'll do it together. So it is, the Seville is the Spain of storybooks, like Ferdinand the Bull, right? It's bullfighting and flamenco and ruffles and tapas and paella and pescadito frito. It is a wonderful city, and I think another selling point for Seville is that the weather there is very similar to the weather that we enjoy in Southern California. I'm actually a New Yorker, and so I know that you guys are all very weak weather-wise. You like your warmth. You don't enjoy the cold. You don't enjoy the rain. Seville is a good fit for that. I don't know if you have more.
Yeah, do you have more to add about Seville in Spain?
Seville, it's historically an amazing city. Hello, everybody. I'm Ana Afsali. I'm a Spanish professor. This is where the ships would come back from the New World. They had to pay their taxes there. So we have the Archivo de Indias, the Archive of Indies, so we know everything that was going on in the New World. We can show that to the students. Christopher Columbus is buried there. It's the birthplace of flamenco. So I went to dress apropos. And the food is absolutely amazing. Another thing that is really good about Seville is it's got a really good airport. So our students love to travel. It's very cheap to travel within Europe. And so we have, what we do in study abroad, we have our classes set up so that 1 week is Monday through Thursday, the following week is Tuesday through Friday. So students have a 4-day weekend every other week, and they go everywhere. Their assignment, the first day of class, is always to tell me in Spanish where they've gone and what they've done. So it's really fun. So it's really easy to travel from Seville. There's a lot of other cities around Seville that are absolutely amazing. Spain was conquered by the Moors from 711 until 1492. So there will be parts of Seville you'll be walking through and you're going to feel like you're in Saudi Arabia. Absolutely beautiful. So there's just so much to do. We have the AVE. The AVE, it's a fast-speed train that puts you in Madrid in 2 hours. So if students want to travel to Madrid for the weekend, they can do that, and it's also very inexpensive. And also public transportation in Seville, it's excellent. We have trams that take you everywhere. They're very clean. For those of you interested in bullfighting, there's a beautiful bull ring there. So there's just a lot to do, and the food is absolutely amazing. So I couldn't really think of a better city to go to than Seville. When I went, the last time I did study abroad was 2 years ago, and we went to Salamanca, which is in the middle of Castile, and everybody was freezing for 2 months because it gets really cold there. But Seville is really mild. That's really fun. The other thing that is great about Seville, we have La Feria de Sevilla in April, and all the women dress like this, and there's a lot of flamenco, lots of people. It's almost impossible to get a hotel in Seville during that week, right? So you'll be really lucky because you'll live there. We still have class that week, sorry, but then when you get out of class, you get to go out and dress in your flamenco outfit and dance and all of that. And then, of course, we have Semana Santa, Holy Week, and that is just truly a beautiful spiritual experience. I don't care what religion you are, I don't care where you stand in that regard. When you are in Spain, Holy Week, it's just really a beautiful experience. So, yeah, I'm thrilled that we've chosen Seville to take students this year. It's truly amazing.
Yeah,
so.
Excited for you. And the next slide, maybe Naomi can jump in on this. Did you travel a lot when you were in Barcelona?
Yeah, I went to, I think, 4 other countries. I went to Paris twice.
Twice.
Yeah.
Paris, Disneyland. Did you go?
Yes, I went to Paris, Disneyland.
See, they all go to Disneyland.
Lots of fun. Yeah, it's super cool. I planned all of my trips ahead of time, which I wish I didn't do. Because then, like, other things come up, and it's like, oh, I was already going here this weekend.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's super easy to, like, plan it, like, the week you go. Like, it's not a problem.
And
it's a lot cheaper, too. When you plan it ahead of time, it's dirt cheap. Yeah.
And how did you get around usually? How did you go to Paris?
I would fly there.
With
super cheap.
which airline? Ryanair, which is how much from Barcelona to Paris? Do you remember?
Round trip was like I had one way from Barcelona to Paris was like $15.
$15.
That's, like, if you're really lucky. But then
Right.
round trip it ended up being like maybe $50.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That, but,
So it's a really good chance to explore the rest of Europe.
And then students also, if I may interrupt, students run into each other all the time, which is really interesting. I was actually in Paris myself when I went to Salamanca for spring break, and then my flight got canceled coming back and we had to rebook, and I was with 10 other students who happened to be there too, so we were all dealing with it together, and so that was really fun.
Yeah.
And then you run into each other in the city constantly, so you're like a little family when you're there. I had a little like alumni party a few months after we got back, and all the students came from different cities because it's a consortium of 13 community colleges, and they were so happy to see each other because you really become friends while you're away. You bound together. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next slide. Anything else to add?
No.
No? Okay.
No, that's exactly it. As far as academics, so
Oh, that's me in Salamanca.
Oh yeah, that's your photo.
So your courses, like Professor Rapsali explained, will be on sort of a rota basis, Monday through Thursday, and then Tuesday to Friday. The schedule will be given to you before that you go. All the courses are UC-CSU transferable, and your brochure is fantastic because it does give you, the IGETC equivalents there. Generally, students enroll 11 to 14, right, units?
Well, yeah, 11 is fine because there's a 5-unit Spanish class, right? So if you have 6 units, 2 other classes, and 1 would be your required course, it would be 11. But
Right.
if you're using financial aid, you have to enroll 12, a minimum of 12. So please keep that in mind.
Right. The one required course is the Spanish civilization course that Professor Rapsali will explain shortly. And there is the opportunity to take an online course while you're there. Although, did you take an online course when you were there?
I did not, but I know a lot of people.
A lot of people did. Sometimes people think that they'll have more time by taking a course online, but then you're sort of chained to, deadlines and your computer. And remember that your faculty and your fellow students are on a 9-hour difference than you are. So I think having as many courses as you possibly can in Sevilla with the wonderful faculty that we have, and having Sevilla as your classroom, because so many of the activities and things that you're studying will be interactive and experiential and involved, the better. So we really highly recommend that you do as many there as possible. Anna,
Oh, that's me.
there you go.
So while I'm in Spain, I will be teaching Spanish 1 and Spanish 2. Our classes are really small, usually anywhere between 5 and 8 or 9 students. And something that I really like to do, I take the opportunity of the fact that we're in Spain to really take students out and get them to use their Spanish, because that's really how you learn best, right? So at least once a week I would come to class and say, vamos a salir, we're going out. And the only thing that I would require of students is that the second we stepped out of the classroom, there was no English at all, only Spanish. No matter how hard it is, you can do this. And so this picture was taken one of those days. We were sitting in front of the cathedral, and I was teaching students how to play the castanet, which is really fun. And trust me, if you go to Seville, you will learn how to play the castanet. It's actually not that hard. And so that was really fun. Sometimes we would go out to a restaurant, and I would have students order their own food. Sometimes we would go shopping, and I'm like right there helping you to do it, but you were doing it yourself. Just a fun little story. When we were in Salamanca 2 years ago, I was walking to school and I saw a lot of police. What's going on? I asked. I said, "Oh, Your Majesty, the King and Queen are at the university giving out an honorary doctorate because it was the 800th anniversary of the university." And so I went to class and said, "Vamos a salir, we're going out." And where are we going? I said, "A ver a los reyes de España, to see the King and Queen of Spain." Of course, they're laughing at me. And so we came out and waited for the King and Queen to come out, and they're actually really nice. They're very sociable, And they came out and shook all of my students' hands, and one of my students took a selfie with the king behind him. And the newspaper in Salamanca took that picture and put it in their cover in the newspaper. Of course, Citrus now expects me to have my students meet the king and queen, which is not going to happen. But so I try to take opportunities like that and expose students to as many exciting experiences as we can while we're there. So that's really fun. And then I also am in charge of the Spanish civilization course. While I'm here on campus, it's a history class which I teach. But while in Spain, what we do is we invite a series of local lecturers that will speak. This is a required course for all the students in Spain, and so they'll give us lectures about food, about architecture, about cinema, about dance, about different things. So every week it's a different lecture, and I supervise the course and give the students the homework. And that's truly an amazing experience. I learn new things too, I don't know everything. So it's really, really interesting. And then if you want, there are other Spanish courses that we teach in the program that I don't teach personally, but that I supervise, and those are taught by local instructors in Seville. But I will be the instructor of record, and I will supervise it as well. And I'm there, I become one of you guys, and so we'll travel together, we'll do things together. I always have students call me Anna, one of you, I'm here with you to help you. So it's very casual, it's really fun. These are the other Spanish courses that we teach in Sevilla. So Spanish 140 and 141 are conversational courses. Then we have Spanish 3 and 4, and then we also teach a course of Spanish for native speakers. So if you're a native speaker and would like to improve your grammar, your writing, and all of that, that's a really great class for you as well. So I guarantee you, if you're a lady and you come to Seville, you will come back with one of these, I promise you. And they're not expensive. Actually, to live in Spain, I find it to be very inexpensive compared to the United States and compared to California, especially. So, I'm accessible. You're welcome to come to my office anytime and ask me any questions, or call me or email me. I can tell you this: I was born and raised in Madrid, and I came here when I was 19. I didn't speak any English, so I'm really kind of the product of study abroad. And nothing will change you or your son or daughter more than studying abroad. I have seen the changes in our students when they get there. They're really timid. They're looking for places that sell like Mexican food or food that looks like, they want to go to McDonald's. By the time they've been there, no, they don't want to do any of that. They're happy, they know how to travel, they become a lot more independent, they have been exposed to another culture, and so they grow exponentially. And of course, they speak Spanish so much better. So it's just a wonderful experience all around. They get a little blue when they come back. It's the re-entry mode, right? So for a month, they're kind of with you because they want to go back. They want to stay longer, all of that. So it's a really safe program. The only thing, like the student was saying, you have to be really careful with your wallet because they will steal it from you and you won't even realize it. I think in Salamanca we had 5 students who got their wallets stolen. So I give them a little talk at the beginning of the semester about how not to have their wallet stolen. So other than that, it's safe. It's not like here where there's hardcore crime. There's none of that. So it's a different way of life. People work to live. They don't live to work. They work to live. So and it shows. And Spaniards are really fun. They don't laugh at you when you try to use Spanish. They laugh with you and they try to help you. So that's really interesting. So it's well worth the investment. I don't get a commission from any of this. I'm going no matter what, but I can tell you it's an amazing experience. So feel free to contact me if you have any questions or concerns or anything like that. Okay?
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Okay, and we have your instructor, Maya. She'll talk about her courses. I'll bring up your slide for you.
All right, so I am going to be teaching 4 classes, and I wanted to start off with a quote from Don Quixote. Now, it's in English, but it says, "And Don Quixote said goodbye to his hosts and to the travelers who begged him to come with them to Seville, because it's just the place to find adventures. On every street and around every corner, they're simply waiting for you. More of them than anywhere else in the world." And so when I read that, I thought, you know what? Yes, we are going to have some great adventures in Seville, and we're going to do it through literature. Okay, so the first class that I'm teaching is English 102, which is Introduction to Literature. And I've worked really hard this summer to try to find literature that's relevant to Spain and, when possible, to Seville. So when we do the novel, we will be reading The Sun Also Rises, which I realize is not a Spanish author, Ernest Hemingway, but part of it is set in Spain. So it's about bullfighting, and I thought this will be a great book for us to learn about bullfighting. And my goal, I say goal because things change, but my goal is for us to go see a bullfight. Then when we get to the drama, we are going to look at Federico Garcia Lorca. He wrote 3 very important plays. I think we're going to do the first 2, but I'm leaving myself a little bit of wiggle room.
Lorca there, they might not know who that is.
Lorca. Yeah, he was one of the most important playwrights in Spanish literature. And so I'm thinking we're going to do Blood Wedding and Yerma in this class. And my goal is for us to go see a play. And I've already contacted Edu, the local guide, and I said, I want you to make sure that there is a Garcia Lorca play playing in Seville when we are there. So he said he was going to do his best.
That's great.
But no promises. Then for short stories, did I bring it? We're going to do Tales of the Alhambra, which again I know is not a Spanish author, but it's a lot of tales that were collected by Washington Irving when he visited the Alhambra, and I thought this would be a good way for us to learn about that part of the country when we go visit the Alhambra, because that's part of the trip, right? The
Great
tour.
choice.
We're going to be going to Granada to visit that beautiful building. And then the last part that we're going to do is poetry. And we are going to do I don't think I brought that one. Oh, I did bring it. Romances Gitanos, so Gypsy Ballads by Federico Garcia Lorca. Okay, so that's one class. And so Juana Inez, we'll probably get to her at the end. And then for the critical thinking class, the 103, I've divided that into 5 themes, and they're all related to Spain. So we're going to look at the Sephardic Jews, the Moors, who are very important. We're going to look at the Gypsies or the Roma people, the LGBTQ community, and the independence movement in Spain. And I found articles, current articles about those issues. Again, I'm working with Edu. My goal is to bring speakers to the class about those issues, and or us go to certain locations to visit museums, the Jewish quarters, go to a mosque. Again, it's all, we're working on all of that. But I'm very excited about this class because you're going to learn that Spain, the intersection of the Moors and the Jews and the Catholics, was so important. And it's evident in the literature, in the films, in the day-to-day life, the architecture. So I'm trying to bring those issues into the classroom so that when we're out and about, you can say, oh yeah, we talked about this. Like the La Mezquita in Córdoba, beautiful Muslim mosque with a big old Catholic cathedral right in the middle. What's that about? Why did that happen? So we're going to look at that. Then for the World Lit class, the first World Lit class covers the beginning of time, Adam and Eve, all the way to the 1650s, and we have to cover all of the literature that ever existed during that entire period of time, and we've got 12 weeks to do it. So it was a bit daunting, and I thought, I think if I pick a theme, it might make that literature more manageable. So we're going to look at the evolution of the epic hero, and we're going to start with Greek mythology, and then we're going to do 1001 Nights. We're going to look at El Poema del Cid, a condensed version, and we are also going to cover Don Quixote as a condensed version because they're very long books, so we're looking at them as condensed versions. Fuente Ovejuna, I believe we'll have time to cover some Shakespeare as well. And then finally, because I can't just focus on men, the second class, the 272 World Lit from 1650s until now, we will look at the evolution of the woman. And so that's the course I'm finishing up right now. And I have some Japanese literature, some English literature, Henrik Ibsen's Dollhouse, Emily Dickinson. I'm looking at Harriet Jacobs' Sojourner Truth, Harriet Beecher Stowe, Federico Garcia Lorca. We're going to look at La Casa de Bernarda Alba and Como Agua para Chocolate, which is a Mexican film. And we're going to end on a very contemporary book by a local writer who's from Los Angeles. She teaches at Cal State LA, called Across 100 Mountains. And I picked all of this literature because it shows women, how they have changed compared to the first half of the literature.
Okay.
Cool.
Wow.
Oh, and we're going to watch
I wanna
films.
do
I have films.
I'll
We're
take
going to
those.
look at Spinning and Todo sobre mi madre, which is all about my mother, Almodovar, and but they'll have subtitles. All the literature we're going to look at is in English, by the way.
Thank you. That was excellent. Thank you very much. Okay, so we also have another Barcelona faculty. Can you guys interview her, and
Yes.
I'll try to set
Yes,
this up.
sorry.
Okay. So if you guys have any questions,
Sorry I'm late, everybody.
No
Barcelona.
worries. So we want to hear a little bit more about your experience.
Yeah, so I was in Barcelona, and it was amazing, life-changing. I traveled a lot, so I mean, I didn't just stay in Barcelona. I tried to go everywhere I could. So I went to like Amsterdam, Berlin, Ireland on St. Patrick's Day, which was really fun. And then I also went to Madrid. Madrid's a great part of Spain if you get a chance to go. You said you're from Madrid.
Yeah.
It was my favorite city in Spain.
Yay.
It's so beautiful, and the food is better in Madrid than in Barcelona, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yes, it's so true.
But I'm
And
biased.
I would say that Barcelona is like a really tourist filled city, so it's kind of hard not to run into tourist traps everywhere you go. And Madrid is less like that. Honestly, I left with a little bit of debt, but it was worth it, and I'm super happy. So, you know, if you leave with a little bit of debt, it's okay. All right, yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Do you have any? Can you ask her some questions?
Sure. Wanted to ask you a few more questions, if that's okay.
Sure, totally.
So have you changed since? How's your experience changed you?
I don't know. This isn't the first time that I've actually lived in a different country. After high school, I lived in a different country, so I don't think it was as life-changing for me as other people. If this is the first time that you're leaving the country, definitely this is going to change your whole life.
Yeah.
When I first left the country, it was life-changing. You really see how different it is. But Europe is a lot different than the United States. I would say that it's not completely different. I mean, you're still gonna have your beauty stores and whatever. It's nothing drastic,
Right.
but the people are a lot different. I would say that just culturally, you're just gonna have major culture shock, and there's not gonna be Mexican food, so just get over it. Mexican food is a really large part of my diet, and that was hard for me.
Yeah.
But I would say just really try your best to immerse yourself in Spanish food.
Right.
And that would probably be the biggest thing, is the food aspect is kind of hard for people to get used
Did you
to.
live in a student apartment?
No, I lived with a homestay. I really recommend doing homestay. I 1000% do a homestay. It's I think way better. Less drama because you're not with, for girls anyway.
Yeah.
There's
good
a
point.
ton of girls, so a lot of drama happened with a lot of apartments. So I would say doing a homestay is a lot better. If you're by yourself or with a roommate, it's really awesome. You get to practice your Spanish skills a lot, and you get to have that culture aspect.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Yeah. I think that, especially knowing the Spanish culture and the Spanish personality, I think the people in the south of Spain are a lot more relaxed, say, than the families that you would have in Catalonia. They tend to be a lot warmer. I know that when I was choosing between Salamanca and the south of Spain when I was a student, they recommended that I go to the south because that Mediterranean sort of personality is a little warmer. And
I heard that as
a
well.
little easygoing.
Yeah.
than that. I think that the homestay, at least in my experience working with students as the on-site coordinator, I think that the homestay experience is, yes, sometimes a little lock because it is a mix of personality. You are living in someone else's home, but the more open you are and trying to sort of integrate yourself into their life and their home, the better experience it's going to be.
Yeah.
The more that you're not just sitting in your room watching Netflix, but you're out in the common areas in the living room, watching their shows, asking questions about their life, their culture, the more relationship will develop.
Yeah, I mean, initially, I stayed with a little old lady. She was really, really sweet.
Okay, after this.
And her name was Anna, and initially it was kind of a little difficult. I speak Spanish, so it wasn't that bad, but the food situation was a little bit difficult. Her food was kind of gross initially.
Oh.
So, but that's not, don't scare you away from that. But after having like a conversation about it, we were able to kind of like work it out. And I'm a vegetarian, so it was a little bit difficult for her to like maneuver that. But again, it's just all with time. And she's one of the sweetest ladies I've ever met. Like, she's so sweet. And she told me, come back whenever you want. You can stay with me. It really, you do create a relationship. And I met one of my greatest friends in my homestay. She was actually coming from another school, and she's from France, and like we became really good friends. So maybe that'll happen to you as well. You never know. So yeah.
Know that you do have AIFS staff there.
Yes.
They have found your homestays. They know your homestays. If you have any issues or problems, then it's up to you as the independent adult that you are to try and come to a solution. This is one of the life skills we're going to teach you. Rather than just putting up with a situation that's difficult, uncomfortable, or it's up to you to try and work it out. So our staff will help you through it, hopefully.
And they did help me, but at the end of the day, I had to like be the one that talked to her and everything like that, because you're going to be the one sitting there with that person. And by the way, having dinner with that person is really, really great, and it's a really great opportunity to talk, practice your Spanish, things like that.
Yeah, we'll give you the skills, but it's up to you to
exactly.
do
Be
it.
an adult.
Exactly.
Okay,
Life skills,
so
people.
we'll thank
ready?
you so much.
Yeah, no,
We'll have them stick around and ask them questions. We have one more faculty member, Becca Walker. Okay, so she's doing Earth Science 120, 240, and 130. And the great thing about 120 is that that satisfies your science requirement. Yes, so it's a 4-unit class because there's a lab attached. And so what that means is you satisfy your science and your science lab requirement. And you also have you have a natural disasters course that you can take, and physical oceanography. And she will take you out into the field, I believe. Do you remember what she said?
So she it definitely did a scouting trip to Seville to sort of decide how she was going to use the local area and the resources that the University of Seville then also can offer us in any institutes that are in the area. So she plans to use local resources the same way both of your faculty will. We showed you the list. This is examples of things that you'll do in earth science, and then the physical geology course. Again, this is the one with the lab. And for us non-STEM majors, it's a nice thing to be able to go to Spain and get that requirement done there. The natural disasters course, again, looking at differences that natural disasters have led to in the topography and the geography of Spain. And then physical oceanography. Seville is located within distance of 2 large water masses, the Atlantic Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea. So it is in a unique situation that you'll be able to get to both of those bodies of water. And that's about it, I think, for her.
Sorry, I'm sending her a text now.
No, it's fine. It's too bad we didn't hear from her, because she is really interesting when we have the faculty and you can listen to the plans for their class. We talked a little bit about online. You do have online courses that are available to you. So if you have, I would only take one, I think, if I had a certain requirement that I had to get done and could not do that semester. Otherwise, take advantage of these 3 wonderful faculty that Citrus is providing for you, or the consortium is providing, and that you have so much to learn from. I think that the classes are engaging and you get so much more out of it. As far as where we are, the AFS Student Center and Services, so we're located in a local language school. We have a staff and faculty offices there, as well as classrooms available to us. The Student Center will have Wi-Fi and a computer lab. You have printing services. The advisors there are local. They are from Andalusia. I know your program coordinator, Edu, personally. I actually hired him and trained him. He worked with me in Granada for over 10 years, and he is fantastic. I am thrilled that he's going to be your lead coordinator. He is fun, hardworking, engaging. You're going to love him. And very understanding and lots of experience, right? And knows the country. And obviously, he was born and raised there, the culture. He also studied abroad. So he studied in England. So he's also a former student. So he's got that experience. He will be your 24-hour emergency contact. So outside of office hours, if you have any issues, you'll have a phone number that you can reach him at. Your orientation program will begin pre-departure, so about a month prior to departure. We'll meet again in this room, the group, your faculty, and we will get you through planning and preparing for the trip, everything that you should do as far as money and communication and all of that stuff through
And
what
they
your
get to buy
first.
their books that day,
And you
right?
get to buy their books
Yeah,
that
we
day.
actually go to the bookstore, make sure everybody has their books.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then also what your first, what your travel day will look like, what your first week will look like. Once you get there, Edu will do a thorough orientation as well. Your first night will be in a local hotel welcome reception after your guided tour of Seville. Your housing, again, you can choose between two types of housing. The student apartments are sort of the de facto housing. Those are included in the program fee. They are apartments and they're very nice, really modern, well-equipped, nice little furniture, IKEA-style furniture. You have kitchens, living area, full bath, Wi-Fi, 4 to 6 students in an apartment. No meals are included, but the kitchens come with plates, pots and pans, all that good stuff. So you can cook meals, buy at local groceries, save a little money that way. The other option we have is with a local homestay. Breakfast is offered daily, dinner Monday through Friday. Laundry is included once a week. You have Wi-Fi included. We have 2 students per homestay. That would be a $1,000 supplement for that homestay. We have single rooms available in both options for another supplement, if you wish.
Talk a little bit about the meals that they provide if they stay with the family.
Right. So you have breakfast. Breakfast tends to be a little continental, and you guys could probably speak to this as well.
So it really did depend on like the homestay that you were in. My homestay mom was really awesome, and she gave me like a full spread. It was like
For
toast
breakfast.
and cereal, yeah, like literally a ton of stuff. She made me a little sandwich every morning. It was very nice.
Yes.
But I know a lot of people that just got like croissants or something. So it really is ranging. But I know a lot of them asked and said, hey, like, what do you like to eat? And then you told them, and then they would like buy it. So it was pretty nice for breakfast.
Right. The Spaniards do eat a very light breakfast. They generally have either just coffee or coffee and a croissant, or coffee and a piece of toast. And then the Spaniards do tend to eat mid-morning. They'll have a coffee again. They generally have a mid-morning break, and they eat something a little more substantial. Their lunch is the biggest meal of the day, and then the dinner tends to be late and light. So they generally eat around 9 p.m., 10 p.m., and it tends to be a lighter meal. Our homestay families do more than a typical Spanish dinner for our students. They tend to be a larger meal, but it tends to be later, right? Because the Spaniards just do not cook at 6 p.m. It just is not done. So it's a 9 p.m. meal. So
yeah, I mean, my homestay mom did ask me what time do you want to eat.
Okay.
And so, but her idea of dinner was a little less cooking and more just like heating stuff up.
Yeah.
But again, it depends on what your homestay is. So.
Right.
Yeah, but I knew a lot of homestays that did eat like 9:30.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Right. Well, if you're 6 p.m. to a Spaniard is coffee time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's pastry and coffee time. Yeah. I have a Spanish husband who still does that, even though he lives in America. So interesting. Transportation pass is also included. Seville does have a extensive bus and system, so students will be able to take buses from their homestays or their student apartments to the edge of the center of the city where their school will be located. There'll also be a lot of walking. Your Fitbits are going to explode, right? Because your school's located in the historic district of the city, and you can't necessarily get there using right to the front door using local transportation, so there will be some walking involved. It also has a light rail system, not as extensive as the bus, but you'll be able to use the light rail as well to get to certain places that you need to go or want to go.
Was that a hard thing for you to walk everywhere at first?
At first.
Yeah?
You get used to it. It's really cool. Like, I would like usually rather walk than like take the bus because you get to see everything.
Mhm.
Sure.
But I mean, if you're late, like I've had really issues with timing, as you can tell from today. And I think that like the whole getting used to the bus system and like it coming on time and stuff, and then I was sometimes late for class because I didn't, or like walking, it realistically takes you like 30 minutes, not 15 minutes.
Right.
Like, so I would say definitely time management was a big issue initially, but then you get used to it.
And the buses come on time in Barcelona?
Kind of.
Kind of?
Sometimes they wouldn't.
It's kind of like here then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was like really you had to like run if you saw it, and it was
Okay.
just, I'm not used to that.
Well, we're used to that with our metro.
Lots of field trips and activities, especially linked to your Spanish civilization course. Tapas tours, city tours. I think you'll do the rooftops of Sevilla tour. You'll do a day visit to Granada, my city. Ole, a day trip to Cordoba as well, walking tours, museum visits, a cooking class. You'll learn to make paella and flan. You guys did a cooking class too? Yeah?
I didn't do it because it was optional. I was trying to like save money and it was like.
Okay.
I say do it. It's so fun. It was so fun.
Oh, yeah?
Sorry, but it's really fun.
And
Yeah.
Sporting events, soccer, yes.
Well, and I did ask Edu to incorporate, if possible, a bullfight
Yes,
and a trip to the theater.
right. So those I would imagine would have an optional component to those that would be supplemented, but probably not. Bullfights could be sort of expensive, so. But he'll try and find something very reasonable. Awesome. You have a scaled program fee based. So if based on a group of 45 students, the program fee for the 3 months would be $7,895. If we make a group of 65 students, the program fee would be reduced to $7,475 based on 3 faculty. That would include housing in a shared student apartment or homestay accommodations for the supplemental fee. It includes your travel pass, having your staff there with emergency contact, having 3 faculty members who go with you and are there, orientation program activities, welcome meal, guided tour of Sevilla. There'll be a farewell activity as well. The day trips to Granada and Cordoba. Medical insurance is included in the program fee, so I think we have a very comprehensive actually, package that would cover any medical incident or illness that you had, up to $100,000 per incident of coverage. So it is quite comprehensive. Application fee is included, and pre-departure services and a pre-departure orientation as well. Yeah. What would not be included would be your airfare. We do offer an optional group flight.
Mhm.
Sorry, a little group flight, and we'll talk about that in the next slide. Your round trip from LAX to Madrid, bus transfer then to Sevilla. So Sevilla is international, but it is European. It doesn't do transcontinental flights, so you can't fly, for example, from the United States to Sevilla directly. So we were looking at different flights and different options, and we thought logistically the best thing for the group flight would be to fly from LAX to Madrid, have students stay overnight in Madrid, and then the next morning do the bus trip from Madrid to Sevilla. And then on return, at the end of the program, we will also provide return bus from Sevilla to Madrid and then to the airport, and then you'd fly back. The price for the round trip group flight is $1,185. That is a $795 airline fee plus the $390 fuel surcharge and tax, which technically is subject to change, but in all the
It's
time I've been
never
doing it, it's
changed.
never changed. So we just say that just in case. Your community college tuition fees would not be included, right? Your $46 per unit. However, if you get the Promise Grant, what we used to call the BOG waiver, you can apply that to the tuition fees. EOP&S, also applicable for your textbooks.
Yes, you have to check with enrollment. There's definitely time to enroll for spring. I don't know if you can enroll already for fall.
Your personal expenses, including passport fees. If you don't have a passport yet, you need to get one, right? You need to leave here, go to the Glendora post office, and make an appointment to get your passport. That would not be included. Personal travel also. $250 refundable damage deposit. So that is included in your AIFS bill, that would be refundable as long as you didn't do any damage to, say, your housing or a bus on excursion or to the classroom. Anything that you break that we have to pay for to be repaired or replaced would come out of that deposit. If you don't do any damage, it gets refunded to you in its entirety at the end of the program, and meals except as described. This is based on students' request. This is an optional trip that we do to Morocco, very popular. It's $475 and it is really all inclusive. It is your transportation from Seville to the port town of Algeciras, your ferry ride across, and talk about your epic journeys, right, that you're going to study in your literature. You cross the Straits of Gibraltar, somewhat like Hercules did, and you land in Tangier, and you'll have visits to the three northern cities of Tangier, Tetuan, and Chefchaouen. Hotel for 3 nights, all meals included except your meal, the lunch on the way over, and I believe dinner on the way back. So it is really included. The meals are all Moroccan meals, so you eat a lot of tagine and couscous, and it's fantastic.
You know, I went with the students in 2016 to the exact same trip, and it was amazing. It was truly spectacular. And everybody had a wonderful experience. I got to ride the camels with them. I have a little video that I think it's on the website. Is it not my video?
Yeah, your video of you talking about your
Spain,
yes.
yeah.
Oh, you have your photos
and
on
I
it.
put
Yeah.
some pictures of Morocco and our students there and stuff, so you can look at that.
Yes.
I think it's well worth the money. Again, I don't get commission or anything, but I think it's well worth the money, and it's a wonderful experience.
In
So-
Barcelona, students, didn't they have a side Morocco extra thing that they organized while you were there?
They did do the Morocco. Neither of us went.
Ah, okay.
But a lot of people said that it was really great when they went.
They told us about it when we were already in Barcelona.
Right.
So I had
Because you had the Madrid trip instead of the Morocco
Yes.
trip originally.
Yeah.
so I had booked a trip on the weekend of
Ah.
Morocco, so I was like, so sad.
Okay. Oh.
So this is super close compared to, right? So this is
Yes.
2.5, maybe 3 hour bus ride to the port, and then a 45-minute ferry ride.
Oh, the ferry is more like a cruise. It's
Yeah.
really nice. And
It's
you
fun.
see Gibraltar from the ferry.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah, so there's one point when you're out, and I used to do this with students every semester, so he did it too, and you're in the middle of the Straits of Gibraltar, and you can see Europe on one side and Africa on the other, so it's pretty
That's
cool.
amazing.
It's pretty epic.
Did you have something to add?
Yeah, I shared this the last time we were here. I think this Christmas I'm going to visit my 100th country. So
Nice.
I've been to many countries, and Morocco is one of my favorite places to be. We
Wow.
went there in 1996. It was the boat ride was this incredible experience. We were followed by hundreds and hundreds of dolphins, which Edu said he would arrange for us on this trip. Okay, and we were just in Tangier, but it was like walking just a different world,
Yeah.
and it's still a highlight of all of my
Yeah.
travels. So I really recommend it. I
Yeah.
also don't get a commission.
Yeah.
A
Also,
different
great
world.
shopping.
Yeah.
Talk about good
The
shopping.
souks.
Oh,
A different world is a really good way to put it.
yeah. Aladdin. Right?
It's very
So
different. 18 years old, completion of 12 units with a 2.5 GPA. However, we can give you a progress report if it's your first semester. If you have 10, it's fine. We'll work with you. If your grades are lower than 2.5, I can give you a progress report if you're doing well this semester and you'll be accepted. Okay, so is everyone a Citrus student here? Anyone not a Citrus student? Oh, if you, okay. So everything will be through Citrus College, which means you need to add Citrus to FAFSA. And yeah, you have to become a Citrus student for the spring semester. And here is a breakdown. Is this the current breakdown,
Yes,
Paula?
it is.
Okay, so we have the amounts there for the Pell, the FT, the Full-Time Student Success Grant, the Cal Grant B, which is that the Chafee?
No.
No, it's not. That's
No.
just the Cal Grant. That's
Just the Cal.
Okay.
Yeah. regular Cal.
There's also another one, California Community College Completion Grant, CCCCG, and that's through EOP&S. So if you do qualify for EOP&S, be sure to take advantage of everything, including the textbook vouchers. The next best option is a subsidized loan, and that's a loan with no interest. I know a lot of other colleges don't even have loans, other community colleges, but we do. And so you don't pay interest on a loan until you're done with your education. So if you get your master's degree, there's still no interest on that loan, doctorate, and so on.
You could pay it off though before
Yeah, if you
get there,
just
which
pay
is
off.
a nice option too.
Yeah, $150 a month, you'll pay it off in just over a year, right?
Yeah.
Or 2 years.
You said you were in debt, but
Yeah, it was really, really worth it. I mean, I did not take out any loans, but I know people that did, and they said it was well worth it.
Yeah.
So do it.
Yes,
it's a good option.
that's how I was able to study abroad
That's how I went to
a long time
college.
ago. Yeah, and go to college. So, and there's unsubsidized loans, which is what I used again, which does accrue interest, and there's also a Parent Plus loan available. The best option is to fundraise and save money and minimize your loans, but they're there for you if you do need them. And scholarships, we just actually did a fundraising workshop yesterday, and we filmed it, so I'm going to have somebody edit that, and I'll have it, I believe, up online on the main page this upcoming week. And the main 2 scholarships I'd be aware of right now are the Gilman Scholarship, which is for Pell Grant students. The deadline's October 2nd. There's a video on the Seville page that we made with a recipient, and we go through the whole application process and give you essay tips. There's also the FEA Scholarship, which you have another slide of, right?
No,
No,
not
okay.
in this one.
Okay. There's the FEA Scholarship, which the deadline is coming up September 18th. And that one is great. They hand out a lot of awards, but you really need to, you can use the same tips from the Gilman for the
Yes.
FEA Scholarship.
Yes.
And then there's tons of other scholarships
Yeah.
too. So we have a sheet.
How about the Ambassador Scholarship? So AIFS
Oh, yes, thank you.
actually offers 5 $1,000 scholarships for students enrolled in this program. So you have a separate flyer in your brochure
Mhm.
that we will distribute among students that actually enroll in this program. The only catch is that while you're there, you have to blog, you have to take photos, maybe put together a video. We need material for Seville for the future, so that would be what you would do in exchange for the $1,000 scholarship.
Having these videos are
And
Really
you
great.
come
You
to
take
a
pictures
meeting.
and video anyway.
Yeah,
You will,
exactly.
so you just
So
send it to
you
us.
Help
maybe
us
come
out
to a
with the
meeting or
video.
2 next year.
and then we have the foundation scholarships, which at most community colleges are usually in the spring.
Mhm.
So, but apply for those and get reimbursed for
Right.
money that you did spend.
Right.
I actually got an email. This is how it is with all scholarships. I got an email from the foundation here, and they're like, "Help us promote the college foundation." They paid, I think, 200 scholarships, various amounts,
Mhm.
and they're like, "We would have paid more, but we didn't have more applicants."
Mhm.
So that's how I feel, even about the AIFS.
Mhm.
Sometimes I don't get that many. Gilman, sometimes I don't get that many people applying. So if you think you won't get it, then you won't. But
Absolutely.
just put it out there, give it a try. If you work at it, I hope there's a chance you won't receive anything. But yes, go ahead.
If you look at it this way, $1,000 scholarship, you might have to put in 5 hours of effort. That's like $200 an hour.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know any job that you can do legally that would pay you $200 unless you're a lawyer, right? But it's like having a job over there and it's paying for your trip.
Do you want to do this one?
Sure. Fundraising is a way that we see more and more students paying for their study abroad. They're actively raising funds, actively hustling to raise funds for their study abroad. And they're doing things like back to basics, getting side jobs and dedicating their earnings specifically toward their study abroad. Delivery services, seasonal jobs, like now is the Christmas season. They're probably going to start hiring for those at Kohl's and Walmart and all those places. So getting a job just for the Christmas season and making sure that you save all of that money just for study abroad. We've had students do creative things using their skills. We had one student do a bake sale, and she made a menu of baked goods that she could bake and took it around to the campus admin and faculty offices and took orders and would bring them their order the next day. Garage sales. This student, her name is Christina. She's a Chafee student, went to Barcelona, but not your group, the group before, in 17. And she went around to all of her neighbors in her family and her community and asked for donations of stuff. Stuff, everybody's got a Goodwill box, right? You probably have a Goodwill box in your hall closet of stuff that's too good to throw out, but that you don't want anymore. She asked for all of those donations and then had a mega 2-day garage sale and raised over $1,500. I thought it was brilliant because she took her neighbor's stuff and sold it to other neighbors, and that is absolutely brilliant. Lifestyle changes. Cut down on your expenses, right? Stop buying coffee every day. Stop ordering from Amazon and iTunes every day. Start saving money. How to keep the change savings account. Most banks have that. You can sign up for that, and they'll round up your purchases and put the difference in a savings account. And you can set the amount that you want. Asking for gifts of money from family for birthdays, for holidays. Crowdfunding is becoming more and more popular, right? GoFundMe and Venmo. You want to really think about and write a story. Why do you want to study abroad? What are your goals? What is study abroad mean to you and mean for your future? Because your story is really important. Even the student who did the bake sale, on one side she did the menu, on the other side she did her story. And telling her story got her more sales. So,
Here's a thought. There are credit cards like Costco where you'll get cash back.
that too.
It's not
talked
coming
about
out of
that
your pocket,
yesterday.
and maybe your parents would be willing to say, okay, I'll use this card for the next 6 months, and whatever we accumulate, I go towards the trip.
Yeah, we talked about, there's those travel cards that you can use. So a lot of them, you spend like a certain amount of money in 3 months, and then you're awarded with so many points that you could use for a flight. So it's possible to, if you qualify, or you can do a joint one with your parents, and you pay your AIFS fees, you'll cover that amount, and you'll get these points that you could use for a flight. I don't know. You have to look into the terms, of course, but it's a possibility. The other thing I'd point out too is there's a lot of, these jobs now that are like app jobs, right? Like Postmates.
Oh, right.
What else? What are the other ones?
DoorDash.
And these are great because yes, you can set your own schedule. Uber Eats. You can set your own schedule and you get tips, right? And so if you hustle, you can get some money together.
Yeah, I actually did the credit card thing, and I had to spend like $3,000 in 3 months, and I got 50,000 travel miles from Capital One Venture Card. It's a really great card. And I paid for my flight to Spain with those points.
Right.
And I just paid for my study abroad with that credit card, and that covered the $3,000.
Right.
Nice.
So if you pay with the credit, use the credit card to pay for your thing, and then you get those points to use for the flight. It's really great. So
I think I've heard of other students doing that too, right? You
Yes.
weren't the one whose mom that I talked to at the last meeting.
Okay.
So other students are doing that same thing. We don't have a payment plan, unfortunately. We don't have regular, but you can make you can sort of pay in installations yourself. AIFS does not charge credit card fees, which is nice. I know because I know other schools do. Every time you pay with a credit card, they charge you an additional 20 cents. We don't do that. So you can pay in installments yourself. So it's great
with the credit
advice.
card,
And with those cards too, a lot of them have no international transaction fees. So
Exactly.
They don't. And so you don't have to pay over Rico, which is really, really awesome.
Yeah.
and if you have it in an emergency, if you run out of cash or you can't access cash, you have this credit card.
Yeah.
So something to look into. Okay, how to apply. I think you are all aware of this. You just go to the Citrus College Study Abroad page and you click on the interest form, which will shoot me an email, and I will answer if you're a Citrus student, or I'll send it to your advisor if you're one of those member colleges, and they will respond with the AIFS enrollment link. And that is where you place your deposit, and you fill out the AIFS information, and the deposit will hold your spot in this program. Okay. Do you want to do this one?
So this is just something to think about when you're studying abroad in a foreign country. Even England, for example, creates a certain amount of stress and challenges for everyone. Especially you guys get at the beginning. It is tough, right? it's important that you speak directly with your advisor, with your faculty, about any DSPS accommodations that you require. Disclose any either physical or mental health issues that your challenges that you may have, including physical, dietary limitations, medications, things like that. And of course, your acceptance into the program is not contingent on it. The idea is that we are then able to provide accommodations to help you in the best manner. Our goal is to get all of our students through in a healthy and safe manner. But a lot of times, if we are unaware, we cannot do the necessary preparation. So it is really important that you have honest and disclose conversations with us prior. Okay, thank you.
All right, so that's it. If you want to get a hold of us, you can see your advisors if you're not from Citrus, and there's my contact information. So thank you very much. I want to open it up now for questions. So we have wonderful students and faculty here.